A federal judge has scheduled a hearing for later this afternoon on whether the Trump administration violated a court order against using a law passed in 1798 to deport hundreds of undocumented immigrants over the weekend. More than 260 individuals were flown to El Salvador, with some scheduled to be held in prison. This video is from the El Salvadorian president's X account showing their arrival. The White House says more than 100 deportees on the flight are suspected members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Yesterday, President Trump defended his administration's decision to enact the Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
They invaded our country. So this isn't, in that sense, this is war. In many respects, it's more dangerous than war because, you know, in war they have uniforms. You know who you're shooting at. You know who you're going after. These are people that came out, they're walking our streets.
In addition to the arrival video of the deportees in El Salvador, the country's president took to X to react to the federal judge's order to block the Trump administration's deportations with a post reading, quote, "Oopsie, too late." The White House confirmed just a short time ago the U.S. is paying El Salvador $6 million for accepting the deportees. Let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro for more on this. Aaron, this is supposed to be a wartime law. In fact, the ACLU is suing. They argue the act has only been used 3 times in our nation's history: the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. So how is the Trump administration justifying using this act to deport people, and should we expect to see more?
President Trump last night told reporters that he believes that there is a war when it comes to illegal immigration and used that to justify using the Alien Enemies Act. I thought it was notable, too, how White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt argued that, again, that the White House had been acting within compliance of the judge's written order. Now, when it comes to the verbal order, where the D.C. federal judge said that any planes containing these detained migrants should turn around, Caroline Leavitt said that the White House lawyers are challenging that, are going to be questioning that in court. We'll potentially see more when it comes to all of this around 5 p.m., as you mentioned, when the judge has a hearing in regards to the ACLU's case.
President Trump also says he'll be speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin tomorrow to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. What concessions do you think Putin is willing to make to get a deal done, or maybe what concessions will the White House demand?
Yeah, right now it's unclear. Everything that we've seen from Russia is that they believe, they agree on principle to the ceasefire agreement, but have a lot of questions and with the terms of the division of land. That is something that President Trump last night said that they would be talking, quote, about the division of assets. A Putin ally put out a statement earlier today saying that Russia's plan of keeping its occupied territories in Ukraine is the only path forward. So we'll see if Trump and the United States can get any concessions at all from Russia in their call tomorrow. We know that Ukraine has agreed to this ceasefire agreement. And when asked about if Ukraine knows about, quote, the division of assets being part of the conversation, Caroline Leavitt said that that was brought up briefly in the discussions between Steve Witkoff and U.S. officials and Ukrainian officials in the past week.
And President Trump also took to social media saying he believes former President Biden's last-minute pardons are, quote, void, vacant, or of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by auto pen. Now, he goes on to allege, quote, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. Is there any validity to these claims?
Yeah, the White House did not provide any evidence to that. And specifically, Trump was referencing the pardons related to the January 6th Select Committee that was investigating him in this past term. But they did not give any evidence on that. We know President Trump had hundreds of pardons and commutations in his first term, the 1,600 in his second term related to those convicted from January 6th. We have asked the White House to see if auto pen was used by President Trump in any of those cases.
Okay. Aaron Navarro, thank you.